Yesterday we did not do the Yom Yom, so we're going to do three today. Yom Yoms, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're not going to do Shabbos, obviously. So, on Shabbos. Here's yesterday's. When the first Rebbe of Chabad, Alter Rebbe, he wanted to bless Rabbi Yekutiel Lepler with wealth. So I want to give you a blessing that you're going to be rich. He said, I'm willing to be rich, but I think maybe not. I don't want my wealth. One second. Let me put my pointer over here. There we go. I don't want to be rich, because if I'm rich, it'll distract me from learning Chassidut and from praying. It'll pop into my mind, oh, I can make another deal over there. When the Rebbe wanted to bless him with long life, he said, okay, I'm willing to have long life, but not of a simple person. People that have eyes and they don't see, people that have ears they don't hear, who don't perceive godliness, nor do they hear godliness. I don't want to have long life where I just eat and I sleep and, with my family and everything. Now that I'm serving God, I want to have a life that's filled with filling my responsibility to God. I don't want less responsibility, right? I want more responsibility and to do more. And you want to give me long life, don't give me long life that I'll live to be 105 years old, but the last 10 years of my life, I can't do anything, right? I can't do anything. That's what he said. Okay, I don't know if that's such a good idea for us. The fact is, I'm just throwing in my 2 cents so you can throw it out also. Because if you, nowadays especially, I'll tell you a small story. A story about this. There was a wonderful man. His name was Rabbi Moshe Yaroslavsky. I knew him very well. His son is now the rabbi in Kiryat Malachi. It was a wonderful man, and he used to he loaned money to people. He had this loan money to people. He never demanded they should give it back. And there were some people even that he went to them and said, "Listen, you haven't paid me back. You owe me whatever it was, $500 for a year already, and you haven't paid me back. That's a sign that you don't have any money. Take another $500 loan." Another $500. That's the type of a person he was. Anyway, so there was one bringing of the Rebbe. I think it was 1955. I think, 55. I think 57. Anyway, the Rebbe, it was on Purim, and the Rebbe drank a lot of vodka, and the Rebbe said, "I'm going to give a blessing to anybody who wants it for richness. Anybody who wants to be rich." Now that was back then. The Hasidim, they came from Russia, and it was like this Rebbe Yekutiel Lepler. They wanted to serve God. And they were ashamed to say in front of the Rebbe that they wanted money. They were ashamed. I want money. Everybody wanted to be like this Yekutiel Lepler. All I want is to serve God. I don't want money. It'll distract me. So in fact, nobody raised their hand. And the Rebbe yelled at them. He said, "Come on, don't you see this is a special time?" And the Rebbe said, "Somebody raise your hand." So it ended up that like 3 people, I think, raised their hand. They became fantastically rich, and they gave a lot of charity also. They got a lot of charity. But they were also very distracted. And they also gave a lot of charity. So this Rabbi Moshe Yaroslavsky, he said to me, he told me the story, and he said, if I was there, I would have certainly raised my hand. He said, I certainly would have raised my hand. In other words, now the times have changed. The times have changed now. Now you have a lot of money. You can give to people, you can help people out, you can this. So it'll disturb your service of God. Okay, but it'll help others. Anyway, but we should know that Rabbi Yekutiel Lepler, that was the type of person he was, that money meant absolutely nothing to him, and even long life meant nothing to him if he wasn't serving the creator of the universe. Now, that was yesterday. Now let's do today. Today, since the Torah was given, the correct sequence is, first of all, a person removes the foreskin of his body, then of your tongue, then of your heart. In other words, after God gave the Torah, how do we fix ourselves up? We fix ourselves up from bottom up. First of all, stop doing bad things. Then stop saying bad things. Then after that, when you refine that, you're doing commandments and you're saying prayers and then after that, start fixing up your thought. That's a normal way of doing things. Right? Abraham was exactly the opposite. He lived before the giving of the Torah. So therefore, first of all, he fixed up his thought. Then afterwards, he spoke and he told people about God. And then afterwards, he did the circumcision. That was action. So when God gave the Torah, the most important thing was the physical, in the physical world. So therefore, we have to fix up the physical first, and then by means of that, we can fix up what we say, and then afterwards we can change our way of thinking. But the main thing is do what you're supposed to do. Put on tefillin, even though you have the wrong thoughts, and just do the proper actions. That's the most important thing. God gave the Torah, put the Torah in the world. But before God gave the Torah, it was the other way around. Thought, then after that speaking. That's a big thing of Chabad. Chabad says, start off, a person should put on tefillin. For instance, put tefillin on a person. You don't care what the person is. He says, listen, I don't keep Shabbos. I don't do any of the commandments. Let's forget about what you do. What about right now? Right now, do something good. Right? Don't let not good things be an excuse for never doing anything. Right now is pure. Right now is in your hands. It doesn't depend on what you did in the past, and it doesn't depend on what you're going to do in the future. Right now, do. God put the Torah in the world. You do it, you're connected to God. Afterwards, then the commandments will have an effect on you. But in the time of Abraham, there weren't any commandments to have an effect on him. God didn't give the. So therefore, first of all, Abraham had to fix up his thoughts, his philosophy. What is God? What is the world? After that, he fixed up his speech. He told other people about it. And afterwards, God said, okay, do the first commandment, circumcision. That's this week's Torah portion. Next, finally, that's tomorrow. The word mitzvah, it means commandment, right? But in Hebrew, the word mitzvah is, how do you say, homonymous, homonym, homonymous. The word mitzvah means connection. Tzavta. The word mitzvah also means connection. Joining. Whoever performs a mitzvah becomes joined to the essence of God. God is the one who's commanding you to do that. That's what it means. The reward of a commandment is the commandment itself. When a person does commandments, he goes to heaven, brings Mashiach. It says all that going to heaven and bringing Mashiach, even the raising of the dead, is incomparable to what happens at that moment when you do actual commandment. You're connecting to the essence of Ein Sof, of God, who ordained the commandment. This can be understood through an analogy from the physical world. Let's take a person that's very, very simple, and he is totally negated in front of a person who's a big genius, a genius which he sentences himself to be absolutely nothing. The big genius, on the other hand, he doesn't even perceive the simple person as belonging to the category of human beings, right? You have something to add to my wisdom. Not that the scholar dismisses or rejects him or thinks that he's nothing. That would be an evil trait. He thinks he's better than everybody else. No, he just doesn't see any connection between him and a simple person. What's my connection to the simple person? It's good that there's simple people, but that's not, right? I'm a nuclear physicist. I'm a brain surgeon, right? The people in the world, I'm thinking about nuclear physics all the time, thinking about this. The people in the world, I don't think about them. I don't think about them. If I bump into somebody on the street, I'll say, excuse me, but no. The same thing, a big Talmud scholar, even more so, his mind is thinking about godliness, about ideas, Torah ideas, and simple people, good, if something he needs, his pen falls on the ground and he needs to pick it up. But except for that, it's simply not in his line of work. Now, when the sage, the big genius, tells a simple person to do something for him, that command brings the simple person into being. In his own self-perception, there's no longer a nobody, but he's a somebody. He has assumed the status into himself that he's able to carry out an order of that genius. And it's me that this genius talked to me. I don't know if there's such an example nowadays in this that we can say, but I know people that say that, a big rock and roll star or somebody, I met him. He actually said hello to me. Right? He was such a nice person. He even said hello. He says, oh, I met this person. All of a sudden I become, you really met that person? Oh, wow, I don't believe it. I said, yes, I did. And here I even have something from him, right? He threw a cigarette stub on the ground. This is his cigarette stub. Maybe you could even raffle it off if you could validate that it belonged to him, right? Who knows, right? It belonged. All of a sudden, the important person makes everyone that he touches or talks to, or whatever, he makes them important. So here we're talking about a Torah scholar. A Torah scholar, he's answering the deepest questions in the world, most important issues of people's lives. And a simple person, he can't answer anything. But when that great person tells the simple person, please do something for me, do me a favor, then all of a sudden that simple person becomes important. He exists, he's a somebody. And the sage can speak and instruct. What's even more important, the commandment unifies that sage, the great genius, with this simple person. It's the same thing with God. God commands us. God is creating the whole world. And God cares if I put on tefillin. He cares if I give charity. That's what it means, that's what the commandment. It doesn't make any difference what the commandment is about. You're connected to the Creator. That's the most important thing of doing a commandment. Savta means to connect. Okay.